is that?
Someone made another cell?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 best villains in the Dragon Ball franchise. We'll only be including big bads that appeared in the anime or spin-off films, so we'll save manga antagonists like Moro for another list.
So now you must face me, which means you will progress no further.
Number 20, Dr. Gero.
You are a bit stronger than I anticipated. But it is nothing I cannot handle. Your defeat is imminent.
After a young Goku destroyed the Red Ribbon Army, the organization's head scientist dedicated his life to getting revenge. Dr. Gero spent years observing the Z fighters in the hopes that he could build androids strong enough to wipe them out. The mad genius even went as far as to put his own brain into an artificial body so he could join the fight too. While Dr. Gero's creations would later surpass him in power and influence, the scientist still had an impressive evil resume. He slayed a ton of innocents, nearly killed Yamcha, and managed to get away from an angry Vegeta with his head intact. The sinister Doctor also set off a series of events that nearly led to the end of Earth.
Stamping you out of existence is a trifle for a unit like me.
Number 19, Raditz.
I didn't come here to kill you, but it seems you have left me no choice.
Unfortunately for Goku, his older brother doesn't fly a spaceship to Earth to have a nice family reunion. The Saiyan warrior Raditz was hoping that his sibling would join the family business of devastating and conquering planets. But after the villain failed to win his brother over, he took his own nephew as a hostage and forced Goku and Piccolo to fight for their lives. Although Raditz had a relatively small amount of screen time, he had a big impact on the series. His arrival led to Goku's first death and kicked off Piccolo's redemption arc. But most importantly, Raditz was the first villain to teach Goku that there were tons of strong fighters beyond the stars.
What? That's impossible!
Number 18, Zarbon.
You ever hear the saying, beauty is only skin deep? Well, right now, you're only seeing the beauty.
Is that so?
While Vegeta was on Namek, he stopped his search for Dragon Balls to take down his old co-worker, Zarbon. The Prince of Saiyans thought the elegant warrior would be a pushover. However, Zarbon shocked us and Vegeta by taking on a beastly form that sacrificed beauty for pure brawn. The surprising transformation was just one of the things that made this henchman memorable. Zarbon had a regal air that set him apart from his brutal co-workers, but underneath his proper personality lay a true monster that would happily slaughter people for his horrible boss. If Zarbon spent more time training and less time focused on his hair, the notorious henchman might have made it off Namek intact.
Your smart mouth won't be so noisy once I crush your skull.
The first and last mistake you made was to underestimate the power of a Saiyan warrior.
Number 17, Janemba.
Incredible! He's stronger than I thought. We were right to call the fight off. This guy could destroy the whole universe.
A regular day in the afterlife was ruined when evil energy that had been building up for ages broke free and possessed an innocent ogre. The combination of the average body and sinister soul led to the birth of Janemba. While the antagonist wasn't much for conversation, he let his intimidating actions do the talking. Janemba allowed old villains to escape hell, used unique fighting techniques, and transformed into a powerful and well-designed version of himself. The big bad was so strong that Vegeta and Goku put aside their pride and fused just to stand a chance.
I am not Goku or Vegeta. I am Gogeta. It's over, Janemba. I've come for you.
Janemba also stands out for being the only villain to be killed by Gogeta's iconic Stardust Breaker move. Although the big bad is gone, he's certainly not forgotten. Number 16, Captain Ginyu.
I've never seen someone so cool in the line of fire.
I'm warning you to go home!
Oh, I know you are, but I think we should just turn it up a notch.
Don't let their silly poses fool ya. Every member of the Ginyu Force can go from goofy to deadly in a second. While all 5 warriors are memorable, Captain Ginyu deserved a special shout-out. The leader of this twisted team had the skills and power to hold his own against most of the people who opposed him. When Ginyu found himself on the losing side of battle with the heroes, he famously swapped bodies with Goku. The villain's clever nature and underhanded tactics made him a seriously underrated threat. Although we thought Ginyu's story ended when he ended up in the frog's body, he bided his time and eventually borrowed yet another fighter's body. You just can't keep this captain down.
At last! Back on 2 legs after all this time.
Number 15, Nappa.
So, I can't kill the Namek. Fine. Then you!
This brutal and bold Saiyan destroyed a city moments after he arrived on Earth, and that was just his warm-up. When Nappa took on the Z-Fighters, he shrugged off Tien's and Chiaotzu's desperate final attacks without breaking a sweat. The Saiyan then famously fired a ferocious blast at Gohan that only failed to kill because of a sad sacrifice from Piccolo. Nappa's effortless elimination of the Namekian and his high kill counts made him one of the show's deadliest foes. His cocky nature and violent tendencies also made him incredibly dangerous. Although he's rightfully overshadowed by Vegeta, he still made a bloody impression on the franchise.
Vegeta, what did you say his power level is? It's over 9,000! 9,000?! There's no way that could be right!
Number 14, Omega Shenron.
But the comfort you've always felt at being called the strongest fighter in the galaxy will come to an end today. No more will the word Saiyan mean anything but failure.
Be careful what you wish for. After the Z-Fighters made too many wishes in too short an amount of time, the Dragon Balls released 7 deadly dragons. One of these creatures absorbed all of its kin and became the mighty Omega Shenron. Not only did this villain have a great backstory, but he had enough power to stop Super Saiyan 4 fighters in their tracks. And since Omega Shenron was a clever fighter and could regenerate, the heroes found it nearly impossible to put him down. The Shadow Dragon's wide arsenal of powers made every moment of his final fight against the Z-Fighters exciting and unpredictable. Dragon Ball GT couldn't have wished for a better final boss monster.
Your people, your culture, your planet, everything you've worked for, you can kiss it all goodbye.
Number 13, Mercenary Tao.
Pleased to kill you.
What are you doing?
If you look up the phrase over the top in the dictionary, you'll see this assassin glaring at you. During Tao's debut, he used his tongue to kill a general through a pillar with super strength so he could ride it to his destination, and used one hand to throw a fully grown man into the air. But the ridiculous assassin was far more than comic relief. Tao murdered people without warning and nearly killed Goku during their first fight. Fortunately, the assassin got some comeuppance when one of his plots literally blew up in his face. Tao later returned as a cyborg to try and get revenge. While he managed to scar Tien, the hero showed the over-the-top assassin that his time in the spotlight was over.
I had you in my sights! There's no way you could have escaped doom! The ray was flawless!
Number 12, Baby.
You have no idea who the boss is, do you? You are nothing but a simple machine mutant.
Although this parasite was created to kill all Saiyans, he decided to subject Goku's friends to a fate worse than death. Baby had the ability to turn people into his loyal minions in an instant. At the same time, he could increase his power by possessing stronger fighters. Baby used his skill to control the minds of almost every living Saiyan before deciding to stay in Vegeta's body. Thanks to the villain's sinister plan, we got to see what most of the Z-Fighters would look like if they turned heel. Baby's ability to think on his feet also made him a tricky and tough foe. We definitely understand why Goku blasted this parasite into the sun as soon as he got the chance.
It's finally over.
That ought to do it.
Number 11. Jiren.
I want the power to bend all to my will, even bend time itself.
Throughout this stoic fighter's life, he watched everyone he cared about perish at the hands of a single villain. The severely traumatized Jiren eventually decided to devote his existence to becoming strong enough to erase any evil threat. Despite having noble intentions, he became one of Goku's biggest antagonists. If the Z-Fighters couldn't defeat the immensely powerful Jiren, their universe would be destroyed. The fierce warrior didn't make it easy. His absurd levels of power and refusal to back down were admirable. Additionally, Jiren's desire for justice at any cost made his motivations stand out amongst all of Dragon Ball's other antagonists. While fans are still divided on his personality, they universally agreed that he starred in a few of the franchise's most incredible fights.
Maybe you don't want to hear this, but I feel like we've gotten stronger together. And I think that's worth a lot.
Number 10. Cooler.
Because after I kill you, I'm going to turn this planet and everyone on it into dust.
No way! Not on my watch!
One of the coldest villains in the Dragon Ball franchise aimed to restore his family's reputation by killing Goku. It didn't take long for fans to discover that he was every bit as ruthless and violent as his younger brother. Although Cooler's first battle with Goku didn't go well, the villain made a spectacular comeback when he returned as the now iconic Meta Cooler. The villain's sleek metallic makeover and ability to create an army of clones made him feel like a significant threat. Despite having an awesome design and a solid variety of moves, Cooler has been criminally underused in the main franchise. We're sure his longtime fans would love to see him fight the Saiyans alongside his little brother in a future Super story.
So what are you going to do with us now?
Let's just say I decided to extract my revenge.
Number 9. Beerus.
Then give up and accept your planet's fate!
Most people wouldn't dare to tangle with a being whose one job is to destroy planets. However, Goku isn't most people. When Beerus seeks out the Super Saiyan God, the hero volunteers to ascend to a new level. Knowing the God of Destruction will destroy the Earth if he fails, Goku powers up. Beerus proves himself to be an unimaginably strong force of nature whose blows are almost as devastating as his insults. Although Goku loses their bout, the god respects the hero enough to leave Earth alone. Beerus continued to make appearances as a sarcastic and food-obsessed mentor figure after the big battle. But every once in a while, he does something savage that reminds us why he's a god of destruction.
Hakai.
Number 8. Broly.
If you wish not to fight back, I understand.
Shortly after the legendary Super Saiyan was born, two things became clear. First off, Broly would grow up to be tremendously powerful. Second, he really couldn't stand the sound of Goku's crying. Broly's intense anger over his traumatic childhood and harsh upbringing was initially kept in check with a mind control device. But after the legendary Super Saiyan broke free of the device, he becomes a living embodiment of rage that aimed to destroy everything in sight. Broly's hulking design and absurd strength made him incredibly popular among the fanbase. While the canon version of the character wasn't quite as villainous as the original, the second coming of Broly pushed the Z-Fighters to their absolute limits while he was on the dark side. Number 7. Android 17 and 18.
There they go. Just another stampede.
Pitiful humans. What a bunch of shameless cowards they all are.
In a bad timeline, this deadly duo killed most of the Z-Fighters and nearly wiped out all of humanity. Thanks to their limitless energy supplies, enhanced strength, and superior fighting skills, Androids 17 and 18 were virtually unstoppable until future Trunks got stronger. That's not to say they were saints in the main timeline either. While 17 assassinated the doctor that turned him into an android, 18 severely wounded Vegeta's arm and his pride with one blow. The duo's iconic looks and devil-may-care attitudes made them stand out amongst Dragon Ball's rogues gallery. Thankfully for humanity, the main timeline 17 and 18 outgrew their reckless streaks and went on to become extremely deadly allies.
You better not be losing your nerve.
Number 6. King Piccolo.
You poor simpleton. You don't have a single clue who I am, do you?
Decades after the Demon King was sealed away, he was released by Emperor Pilaf. King Piccolo then commanded his henchmen to do whatever it took to find the Dragon Balls and restore his youth. Not only did the Namekian succeed, but he also killed the wish-granting dragon in a jaw-dropping moment of villainy. King Piccolo's towering height and sheer might made nearly every one of his fights into a one-sided affair. And while Dragon Ball had gone to dark places before, the Namekian's cruel actions pushed the franchise to adopt a more mature tone going forward. Watching the heroes push themselves far beyond their limits to knock the Crooked King's crown off his head made for one of the most satisfying arcs in the series.
He's won for now, but my legacy on this planet will survive.
Number 5. Majin Buu.
Got it? You big bloated balloon freak!
Every form of this mystical villain made an impression on fans. The childlike Majin Buu was an immature powerhouse that could go from smiling to slaughtering people in an instant. Super Buu was an impulsive and intimidating warrior who got stronger and smarter by absorbing fighters.
I suppose the sudden loss of your friends and family has left you speechless, Gohan.
After he lost the only source of goodness inside him, he transformed into a pure incarnation of chaos known as Kid Buu. All three versions proved that you shouldn't judge a book by its bright pink cover. By the time Majin Buu cycled through all his forms, he had obliterated nearly all of humanity and the Earth itself. If it wasn't for a huge spirit bomb, Kid Buu would have been the last villain the Z-Fighters ever faced.
Adios. I'll be waiting for you, Majin Buu!
Number 4. Goku Black.
This is Goku's actual body, down to the last battle scar. A perfect war machine.
A version of Zamasu that became disillusioned with gods and mortals developed a heinous plan to wipe everyone out. As part of his plot, the cosmic entity took over Goku's body. Now known as Goku Black, the wicked being teamed up with another version of himself and executed a horrible plan. Seeing a completely evil version of the longtime hero was shocking and cool. It helped that Goku Black introduced awesome elements such as Super Saiyan Rose and the Sickle of Sorrow. Not only could this big bad defeat the toughest mortals, but his fused form became so powerful that the heroes had to let someone else beat him. But even before his final ascension, Goku Black made his mark as an unforgettable franchise villain.
And just like that, you're back to feeling overwhelmed again. You can't get through Zamasu's defenses, and you have no answer for my offensive might.
Number 3. Vegeta.
Think about it. We would rule the planets. You could have anything you desired.
After the Prince of All Saiyans was introduced, he killed his partner Nappa for failing to take out Goku. Vegeta followed that cold action by trying to kill all the Z-Fighters himself. During his debut battle, the Prince showed he was powerful, resourceful, and absolutely merciless. All those characteristics would make Vegeta into a beloved character. Although he lost his first battle against the Z-Fighters, he won fans over by becoming an incredibly vicious ally to our heroes. Vegeta spent most of Dragon Ball Z struggling to balance his good actions with his dark impulses. His journey from being a ruthless villain to reluctant hero has been ridiculously entertaining to watch.
Trunks, Bulma, I do this for you. And yes, even for you, Kakarot.
Number 2. Cell.
At last, all that I have ever imagined is now mine. I have become what no other could ever achieve.
Although this villain was born with the cells and techniques of a few of the strongest fighters in the universe, he wasn't content with his power level. Cell used his impressive intellect and absorption abilities to increase his own strength in scenes that were as memorable as they were horrifying. When he finally achieved his perfect form, this artificial antagonist threw a tournament to show the entire world that he was the most powerful being around. Cell's thirst for fighting and battle intelligence made him feel like a twisted reflection of the Z Fighters. Like the heroes, he wanted nothing more than to test his limits and overcome opponents. But Cell's disregard for life and cold demeanor made him into one of the Earth's deadliest antagonists.
That is my destiny. I am the universe's end!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Frieza.
Very good. Only 3 more to go.
This sadistic space conqueror has committed so many atrocities that it's honestly hard to keep track. He's most infamously known for killing almost every Saiyan in one fell swoop just because he was scared that one might become a threat. Although Frieza got a big dose of karma when he lost to Goku in an iconic fight, the villain refused to go quietly into the night. He came back as a cyborg, died, was resurrected, died again, and then returned to help his biggest nemesis. The fact that fans aren't tired of the antagonist and his snarky remarks after decades of evil speaks volumes. Frieza is the big bad we just love to hate.
Sure, that's wise, because I have no intention of changing my wicked ways.
Who's your favorite Dragon Ball villain? Shout them out in those comments below.
That's the whole universe watching with bated breath, because they've just seen the shocking climax in my theater of revenge!
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.